We could just do an episode. We could just do an episode where we talk about multiple things, and let's just start it off. The episode titled "The one where we forgot we did an episode on the GameCube." You know what I mean?
That is brilliant. The GameCube 2 Electric Boogaloo or something like that. But do you know what I have another right now? It's fucking gas. I have
Hello all and welcome back to Press Any Button to Continue. My name is Keith and I'm joined by my co-host Nisha. Today we're going to be talking about Nintendo's perfect little box. Its beautiful cube, its purple goodness, its hotness, its 4 ports in the front, 2 memory cards, slots, a little bit of a Game Boy adapter, and probably maybe the world's most comfortable controller, the Nintendo GameCube. Now Nisha, why don't you start and spit us off with everything you know about this console, your history with it, how much time you spent with it. Go on, tell me.
So this is one of the consoles that kind of passed me by, to be honest. So it came out obviously a couple of years before the Wii. Like, was there a big gap between the Wii and the GameCube? First of all? Was it about 5 years, you reckon?
The GameCube came out in 2001, yeah, and I think the Wii came out in 2006.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. So that was during my, going out phase where I wasn't as into gaming, and it seemed to me to be a little bit too kiddie, I suppose, with Wind Waker. I was a bit ignorant, and I was like, oh, Wind Waker's not my style. It's a game that I don't want to play, until I matured up and realised that it's absolutely incredible. So I missed the GameCube. I do remember borrowing it off a friend to play Twilight Princess.
Yeah,
but that's all I had, right? So that was my only experience with it, really, up until when I got into retro video games, which was about 10 years ago.
Do you know what, Nisha? Sorry just to interrupt you. We've done an episode on the GameCube.
What?
We've done an episode on the GameCube.
No, we haven't.
We have.
What?
Season 3, episode 3, we did an episode called The GameCube.
Fuck off, did we?
I was thinking.
You're joking me.
No, I was thinking when we started, and then I said I would look. We've done an episode on the GameCube.
I think we should keep this in. Right. Well, I have another idea, right? So I think that's fucking hilarious. It's funny. I listen to podcasts that have like hundreds of episodes and they forget that they did something, and I always think it's real funny. And I'm like, how did they forget? And I have not like zero recollection of us doing.
Well,
the GameCube episode.
we could just do an episode. We could just do an episode where we talk about multiple things, and let's just start it off. The episode titled "The one where we forgot we did an episode on the GameCube." You know what I mean?
That is brilliant. The GameCube 2 Electric Boogaloo or something like that. But do you know what I have another? That is fucking gas. I have another idea for an episode, and it's game rooms. Setting up your game room, man. Game room displays, because
which is kind of apt timing because of your recent purchase you made.
Yeah. So for listeners out there, we're going to shift topic because we forgot. Which I love. Oh my god, that's so funny.
That's the first time ever in Press Any Button to Continue history. We've gone to the stage now where we're on our portable mics. We're sitting fucking wherever we're living. I'm on a toilet. You're probably outside in the fucking tree. And we're like, I don't even know where we are anymore.
Oh god, that's so funny. Oh god, that's hilarious.
All right, let me do a false start again. All right, let's pretend that we're starting the podcast again, but we'll progress again. All right.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. Game room is the topic. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Hello all and welcome back to Press Any Button to Continue. My name's Keith and I'm joined by my very forgetful old man co-host Nisha. Today we are going to be talking everything about your sanctuary, the place where you like to reside in times of difficulty. And have we done an episode on game rooms?
Oh god, I hope not. I don't think. I
remember having a proper conversation about talking about game rooms as well, though. I don't think we had a title called Game Rooms, but I think we had something like Retro Accessories where we talked about our game rooms.
Well,
we have an episode called Retro Collecting where we talked about it, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, so for listeners, right, years ago I had a game room and it was glorious. I was lucky enough that the house I was living in, I had a spare room, and I'm a bit shook after that. I can't believe it. I think it's so funny. But so I need to compose myself. I had a game room in like 10 years ago or whatever when I was living in a house, and I was just very lucky that I had a spare room and I was able to dedicate it to games. And I had it for a couple of years, and I loved it. Really kind of like lit a fire in me with regards to collecting, because I could make a display, and I had my couch, and I had a CRT TV, I mean modern telly, and it was great. But then when I had to move out of that house, everything got boxed away. And for the past maybe 5 or 6 years, everything has been boxed away and in storage. And I do have a small setup now, to be fair. So I have like a couple of consoles, but I don't really have a space that I could dedicate to a nice setup and displaying my games and stuff. Yeah.
See,
so
I think the problem is responsibility directly impacts video game rooms.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Of course.
I feel like when you start having a family and you do everything else, it's like, well, it's crushing your, having your own family crushes your own inner child.
yeah. Well, that's basically like I didn't want I love games and I loved having a game room, but I also I have to respect the people I live with, but I also I wanted the separation. I like to have the separation of my game room and then just like a nice comfy cozy house, you know what I mean? So I didn't want it taken over my house, so everything kind of stayed boxed away. And it kind of like say if I'm looking for a game or something, it can be a bit difficult, because if it's boxed away, it's just, you don't get the same buzz as when you walk into, like, your room, which is incredible. And it's real, like, you get a good buzz and you walk in, you see all the games and the consoles and the setup.
It's
and the
out
art
of sight, out of mind kind of thing, isn't it? It's like once it's not in your vicinity, and once it's not in your vision, your kind of brain just like readapts to like, oh, well, you kind of forget you have them even, or like, when you're surrounded by stuff all the time. And this is why I think if you are in the content creator business, having a room which you're working on, which I'm very excited for, having like a room with your stuff around you is, at least for video game content stuff. Like now, what I don't like about my room at the moment is I want to simplify it a lot more. It's too cluttered. I'd like lots of new furniture for it. I'd like to put it away way nicer. Do you know what I mean? Like neatly. Like right now, it's a bit of a chaos room, which suits the vibe of my stream and content and stuff. So that's fine. But being surrounded by it is a constantly like inspiring thing. It's like being an artist and being surrounded by art. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're like, oh, I kind of want to paint like this, or I kind of want to do something with that. So you have all your inspiration around you. And also it's like, we did talk on an episode before about how like your collection and your game collection is like a protective shield of your inner child. It's all the things you ever kind of wanted in a place, and it's kind of your sanctuary as a result. It's kind of where you go to be a little bit free or childish or kiddie again, where you're like protected by your stuff almost. You know what I mean? Yeah. For better or for worse, depending on how people handle that. You don't want to regress for the rest of your life either. But it's it's an interesting spot. It's definitely some physical manifestation of your brain. Do you know what I mean? Or some part of it.
It is 100%. It is. I'd love to know what is the trigger, or what is the key to it that makes you want to do it? Because some people are collectors, some people aren't, and some people are like into certain types of games, some people aren't, and I would love to know what it is.
I think like for us, I would say, because I know like some people collect as like almost an addiction where they need everything. Do you know, like it's hoarding almost? Yeah. But I think for us, or for a lot of people, I think it's like, it's holding on to something. You're trying to make sure you don't almost forget your inner child or something. It's like there is an element of not wanting to forget, or not wanting to, you're holding on to something, definitely.
But there's also the fact that like there's so many games out there still yet to play, and it's just having that niche hobby, I suppose. Well, is it niche necessarily anymore?
No,
but just having
really, it's pretty popular. But
having that hobby, I suppose. But like your game room is very like inspiring. Anytime I'm in there, I can feel a good buzz, because it's like the dream room, you
think so?
I think it's brilliant, man. Like I love it. I'll never forget the day though that I went to sit down on the couch. Or I sat down on the couch in your room, and I could see the look of fear in your eyes, because you were like, it's all going to fall down. That couch is for looking at, not for sitting on. and I had to like gently get up off the couch. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh my god. It's because, but that's what I mean as well. Like at the moment, right, I have this beautiful Orla Kylie couch that used to be used for sitting on, but it is a bit of a decorative couch at the moment and has boxes and boxes and boxes of things very carefully balanced on top of each other. So it's just a leaning tower of like game pizza. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's kind of why I want to also like, you know, I do kind of want to mature it up a little bit as well.
Right, yeah. I think I want to have like a bit of I think my aesthetic will be very like neat. Do you know what I mean? As in all straight lines, all that kind of like order, alphabetical order, all that kind of stuff. So my plan is again, all my stuff has been in boxes for years and years and years because look, life just happened and I just had to go with it. But now, thankfully, and I'm extremely lucky that I'm at a stage where I'm gonna be having a game room again because I'm getting a cabin or like an office space at my house, and I'm gonna be able to design it my own way. And it's very, very, very exciting because me and you have talked many times about how we loved like reorganising our rooms as a kid and changing our setups, and it kind of freshens things up a little bit. And to be going into a complete blank canvas is very, very exciting. And like I love watching like room tours, you know, people's gaming setups and all. Sure. I think you should actually do a room tour video. I think that would be very cool. But I love like there's a YouTuber called Nintendo Collecting. He used to be called Lithium017, and he was the first YouTuber, I've talked about him a few times, that I started watching when I get into retro video games. And I think it must be like the basement of his house. He is like the most outrageously cool room, and I like watching people's rooms for inspiration. But I'm looking forward to getting the room set up and then being able to design it my own way.
It's so satisfying though, because when you design it and when we talk even about reorganizing, it also reorganizes your brain. Do you know when you're in bed at night and everyone has that thing where it's like you randomly wake up, it's like, I don't know where my passport is, and you literally have to like find your passport till you can go and sleep again. You might not have a holiday book for 4 years, but there's just something in your head where you're like, Jesus Christ, where's that? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, there's that sense of like, oh, I have to know where that is to be like organized or whatever. It could be a different example of anything. Do you know what I mean? It could be like, shit, where did I put my keys? Yeah. You know, whatever. Like, you just want to know where your stuff is, basically.
Yeah, true.
Having to be able to like take all that stuff out of the boxes, create your like setup, how you want it organized, alphabetical, whatever it is. You know, that real nice setup of it is going to be incredible.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. And I'm kind of like, you know, I'm not good at like, you know, picking like colour aesthetics. I like immediately just I'll have all black shelves, like instead of having like white. But then I was like, I do like the kind of like, you know, like dark wood, it's kind of varnished, but maybe some like plants, you know, that kind of brown, green, natural aesthetic. So all that kind of like figuring out what the room will be like, I think is really exciting. But also just having then that space, you know, like I still think I'll be sitting in my house when I want to play games, like, but it's just having that space that I can go into and feel comfortable and be able to like appreciate my collection and look at my collection, because I love collecting, and it's taken a fairly distant backseat the last few years, but I feel like this would be just kind of get me back to what I really, really loved, and that was both playing and collecting video games, and just having the joy of going into a blank canvas and it's setting it up my way and the way I like it. And then I think of like having like when you come up, like being able to go out there and chill out and, you know, just having friends over, and eventually when my kid is old enough to play video games, if they want to come out and play games, I just think it's going to be really cool. And, you know, I also appreciate how stupidly lucky I am to be able to have this space as well. So it's all a really nice, positive thing lately, which I'm really, really enjoying the lead up to it, you know, that kind of the build up to it. I feel like a kid waiting for a Christmas.
But it is, I mean, like, and because it's just going to be a space where you can be inspired. I think that's just like the nice 100%. Thing about it. And anytime you just like, if you want time on your own, it's like literally your space. It's think about it, like, because, you know, when you're living with people, it's like there's no place technically that is your is entirely your own,
Yeah.
really. So like you can literally
Yeah.
just walk into the man cave and be like, I'm going to chill out here for a bit,
Yeah. I'm very excited. But like, do you remember like when you were a kid? I know you kind of changed houses, and you said you were in like the smaller room. But do you remember what your setup was like? Because I can remember like my setup as a kid. Not that it was much of a setup, but I can remember like the stand that I had. It was just like a 4-shelf like metal stand, right? Like a high stand, say about 6 foot tall. And we had our big CRT TV in the middle shelf. And then underneath it, we had like I specifically remember the N64 and the PS2 being side by side. And just games kind of stacked up and stuff. And we had a video machine with a few VHS. I can just remember like reorganising the room and cleaning up that shelf. And I loved that whole thing. But then my friend John had this really cool setup. And it was like... What do you call them? Like an entertainment unit?
Yeah. When you used to have the furniture that was built in for like the different consoles and VHS players, DVD players.
I remember he had that with like loads of games and CDs and all. And every time I went over to his house, if we were watching a movie or playing games or just hanging out, I was always like, I love this setup that he has. It's very cool. But do you remember what kind of setup you had as a kid?
I do, yeah. So basically, like originally, as I said, like why I love parallel playing stuff so much was because I used to have a little setup. Like I used to have like a long living room, and my parents used to have a TV. I actually have a tape footage of it when I was a kid, when I was like 7 years old. And so my parents would watch TV at one end, and I'd have my CRT at the other end. And I'd have my N64 on top of it. But I used to have a specific chair, speaking of the GameCube, that was a little yellow chair I used to sit on growing up. I had it since I was like a toddler. And I decided to paint it black for the arrival of my black GameCube. So I took that chair out to the garden, and it was just a tiny little kid stool. And I remember painting it because I knew I was going to get a GameCube in a few days. Like, that's how excited I was for it. So I just had that little chair with the GameCube on it because I wanted it on its own pedestal. I had my N64. I had my Dream... Oh, hang on, sorry. I had my Dreamcast. I dropped my mic. Sorry, we're still learning.
Oh, brilliant.
So like it was super, super simple, and I had like my Pokemon VHSs around and stuff, but as I got older, what I had was, we moved out of this house for a while, like my family house, when it was getting renovated. We lived in this other place that I loved, and it had an attic. So that attic had 2 beds in it, and I used to use it for all my sleepovers with my buddies, and it was like the nicest thing ever. And that was very simple. Again, it was just CRT and my GameCube or whatever. But having your own sleepover room was just the coolest fucking thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Absolutely loved that. And then when you moved back into the house is when I first started really considering a setup. So I remember I had shelves for shoes. They were like, like a cheap pair of shelves that you put your shoes on. And I was like, I'm going to use that for all my consoles and controllers and, have a whole setup. And I have all the CRTs, or the, not CRTs, I had all the tapes of recordings of me doing my own video game show. So, I talked how I used to record Resident Evil 4 playthroughs and stuff with my friend Richard. And we had our own conception of a show that never really came to be, called RK Consoles, which was Richard and Keith Consoles. So I have like a video of me doing like a review of like Devil May Cry 3 and all this stuff when I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13 or something like that. So you can see like my old setups in the background then.
Nice.
And that kind of kept developing. And then I started getting to retro. I got like a Super Nintendo. I kept adding different things to it. And I kind of really was getting into the idea of, making my space my sanctuary, and the importance of that. And then eventually, the room that I'm in today, I took over when I was about 14. My office, you could call it now. So for those who don't know, I stream in my parents' house. Like, I drive over here every day. Basically, they've allowed me to rob a room. But I've kind of have squatters right to it at this point, since I was there since I was like 14. So that, and then that just kept evolving from there. Like the simplest of things. And like how important setups is why we met in the first place. Like, so like when I first came into this room, it was just a TV, and it was on a TV stand, and had an Xbox 360 and maybe 1 or 2 like little plushies or toys or whatever. But there's some real early photos on my Instagram where you can see how my setup evolved. So I created an Instagram account called Retro Games and Anime, and that was the original Steamy Streamers.
Oh, cool.
And I started posting just my Dragon Ball DVDs. I started posting, a picture of my games. But one day I had Twilight Princess on the TV and I took a photo of it and I got 300 likes on Instagram and I was like, whoa,
Nice, yeah.
this is mad. And then the reception of that started making me improve my setup all the time. Do you know, there was almost like, oh, it needs to be better. You're almost in a competition with yourself and others to like get nicer and nicer photos and up your game. So I had so much stuff that I didn't have displayed, and then I started displaying it more and more. And then sure, we went through the period of where Instagram got like 10,000 likes a photo on a setup, and everyone would rob your photos and repost them and do everything, and it was madness. Like
the glory days of Instagram.
Yes, the glory days. And yeah, I was just thinking, like, I almost feel like I remember sending you a message like fucking like years ago being like, will you like my post and repost my thing or something? Like, will you follow for follow? Like some fucking, probably like knobbish behaviour or something.
Sure, look at everyone did it, man. That's just the way it was. I think do you know what I think is actually very cool about Instagram is I'm the same. I have a timeline of my whole setup and collection just growing throughout the years. Like I can remember the first kind of setup that I had. It was literally like my TV on a stand with a PlayStation 4 and a Super Nintendo, and then a couple of games, and that's literally all it was. And then from there, the stands change throughout the years, games grow, and I must actually, it'd be cool to do like a montage, or like a time lapse.
It really would actually, yeah.
How this setup changed throughout the years. I think it's very cool to have that look back at how things have been.
Yeah, because like as I said, like that's how we met. Like everyone posted their setup pics on Instagram. Now there's a few people who still do and have made a full-time career out of it with all their sponsorships and stuff. Do you know what I mean? They're getting like and there's some people who are like got so good at photographing the stuff that like they work for fucking Nintendo now. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, like look at the quality of Harry's photographs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking insane.
Like I was thinking of Harry and Gemma as well. All the work that they do, so cool. Like a lot of people took that a step further, and I guess in my own way, like I went a different path with it. I wanted to create like content with me, I guess, around video games as well. So and us making this podcast, like, do you know what I mean? Like there's so many, like us taking photos of our TV led to us making a podcast. It led to people working with their dream jobs. It led to me streaming. Like there's so many crazy. It's crazy,
It's wild. It is actually wild when you think about how something that's just chance, you know what I mean? And it's funny, like, because again, like I know I've talked in the past about how some of my friends are into video games, but not as hardcore into retro as I am. And it's like there's certain people, the likes of you, Harry, Ben, and a couple of others that like I consider lifelong friends that I've only met through Instagram. And it's mad to think that even after, like, you have like your core friend group, like after all these years that new people can come in, and it's all because of a love of video games and taking pictures of your telly.
I know. That's like that's the way really it starts, cool.
Yeah. Which I think is really cool. Do you know what I'd love? If people sent in some pictures of their setups to like, if it was on our Instagram or into our Discord or something like that, I think that'd be really cool to see other people's setups. It's funny
because I just sent you a photo there of the setup that I got my first 300 likes on Instagram back in the day, just on your WhatsApp there. You could nearly use that as episode art. We could put press anyone and continue on the wooden floor underneath. But I don't know if you can see it there.
I'm afraid to look in case it knocks my phone off. Hold on and I'll have a look.
It should be fine.
Let me see.
So that was the if you get to look, that was the original bad boy.
Give us a look now. It's loading. It's taking its time loading. It's still
really?
Loading. It's still loading.
Top quality podcasters, baby.
I see it there. Yeah, and you have like a jukebox. That is, geez, it's mad to think of what your game room is like now. So for listeners, there's like, looks like probably like a 32-inch telly or something.
I think that's actually, TV. Believe it or not, I think that's actually like a 50-inch.
Oh, fuck, is it, yeah? Nice. That's a big old TV.
Maybe 45,
and that stand, I'm fairly sure I had that similar stand. It's like a black stand with 3 glass shelves, and you have GameCube, 360, PS4, N64, Wii U, and Super Nintendo, and then a few like plushies and toys and pops.
Yeah. And now it's
really
just
cool.
like all encompassing. Now it's like all four walls are just covered. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd love to know like what like your collection is worth, what my collection is worth. I'd love to be able to put like a price on it.
It is interesting. Like I'm sure. Geez, it'd definitely be enough to put a deposit on a house anyway, I'd say.
I'd say yours is probably, I'd say like you probably have maybe 3 times as much as I do, I'd say.
Do you think so? You have so much in boxes though that might be just worth more. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, see, this thing, I genuinely can't remember an awful lot of stuff because there's stuff that I haven't seen in years.
Yeah,
because it's literally just been boxed away.
I'm trying to think, like, I obviously look, a lot of the games are worth a lot. Like maybe the Pokemon Stadium N64 is worth a few quid. I have some Pokemon cards that are actually worth a fair bit of money.
Nice.
Some of the collector's editions might be worth a couple of £100. Like the Cowboy Bebop Japan one is worth a few hundred. But like,
that's very cool.
I don't know. It's very hard to say.
It is. But do you know what I'm going to do? So when I get all the games out of the attic, right, and I get them put up in this room, my plan is whatever I can fit in the room and I want to keep in the room, I'm going to keep, and everything else is going. I don't care. Like, I'm going to battle through the collector in me, the bit of hoarder in me, and I'm going to get rid of it. And my goal is to get rid of it to get myself my dream game, which is a boxed copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day. And I don't care if I have to get rid of 100 games.
Imagine if your new outdoor office was just, when you walked in, it was completely black, right?
Yeah.
Everything was completely black, and there was just one black shelf with Conker's Bad Fur Day on it.
I'd be happy
shining
with
on it.
That's literally, and just a wooden stool.
Yeah, just where you can sit down and jack off in front of it.
Oh, that would be fucking hilarious, man. Oh, I'd love to get
jack off stool.
I'd love to. This is the Instagrammer in me. I'd love to do that. I'd love to, before I put loads of stuff in, just have like a wall of shelves with a stool and like one video game on it, and be like, "Here's my new setup."
Yeah, absolutely.
No consoles, no TV, just.
But you know what? I could totally see
idea.
Bringing back taking Instagram photos with that office as well. Like, imagine if you had a light box for taking photos of your stuff in it too, and things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. Do you know, like from a creative point of view, you know, I kind of took the foot off the gas, I suppose, so to speak, with regards to Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. And then when we get into podcasting, that really relit the flame in me for creating stuff, because I love making the podcast. But I had a bit of a breakthrough moment recently with regards to, you know, creating reels and putting posts and stuff online, because I kept putting this pressure on myself to do like this real high quality audio. And then I was like, but you don't actually have to do that. Like a lot of when I'm browsing Instagram, a lot of the videos I'm watching is just like, you know, music and montages.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of experimenting with a few of them, and I'm really happy with how they come out, and it's fun to make them. And I do them all by hand. I don't use like, you know, you can use like a blueprint and you just upload photos and it does it yourself. I try and do it myself, just again for a bit of fun. And I think like going forward with the shed, I think I'm gonna like document the whole creating process of creating the shed and building the game room, because I think it'll be a fun thing to do, like which is another aspect of it, you know. I definitely think it's like, for me as well, right? The way I look at it is like, my long form content, like my YouTube stuff, like I'm proud of, I'm happy with, you know, I'm tipping away, I'm learning that all the time, and I feel like I'm heading in the right direction with it, you know. And for the streaming, I've kind of done forever, so like, you know, something I'm comfortable doing, and that pays my bills, and that's great. But my short form content has always been horrendously weak, you know. I always like anything, and also, you know, Instagram, so like, you know, whatever, it's like you're always figuring things out, and it's like, oh, it just seems like such a young person's game in my head, you know, like to try and make something that's like some sort of attention span kind of whatever. And it was only recently over the weekend I sat down
And I was like coming up with an idea for a reel, and I was like, I'm going to make an overlay of an old CRT TV, and I'm just going to put my clips in that, because all my clips, because I'm an old man, are in landscape. They're not in portrait, so nothing works out well.
Yeah.
So I made this old CRT overlay in Canva, which is, by the way, and I did like a little hook at the beginning, which is like, there's only one thing men want, and then it plays the Beyblade theme. You know,
it was very good. Yeah, it was so funny.
Now my Instagram is shot, so it doesn't really get much attention, but on TikTok it did fairly all right. Do you know what I mean? So it's like. So I've been kind of posting them and like figuring out, you know, what works. So I don't know, like it's like trying to somehow like, because I love making overlays and I love using Canva. It's a brilliant website. You need to get on it.
Yeah.
And so many different things to kind of learn and do. So I find that like making that was actually fun, and it kind of got a little bit of a fun reception to it. So it's all kind of like learning and being inspired. And again, it goes back to like, if you have a space to do that in, you know what I mean? And if you have that kind of, you know, game room or office room, or like, you know, I would also love an office too, where all I have is just a Master Sword and like, you know, a Resident Evil chainsaw, and that's it, or something, you know what I mean? Like just two items and then just a nice monitor in there and a nice table or something, you know? So it's hard as well, because the thing about game rooms is like, do you want to go minimalistic or do you want to go like everything? And I am currently at the mode where I definitely want to condense everything I have right now. Like for me right now, I've had this kind of set up for a while, and it's too childish for me at the moment. I want to kind of adult it up a bit more, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to doing that however way I do it, but I'm not sure. And I'm sure you having this fresh canvas will inspire me to do that too, because at the moment my canvas is completely covered in paint, so it's hard to move things or know what to do with it. Do you know what I mean?
True. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'm interested to see what you come up with and how you change it. I think maybe some more shelves, maybe.
Yeah,
if you did, so your wall behind your couch where your Steamy Streamers logo is, that was all shelves.
1000%.
Man, it would look so fucking. It would look so cool, and you could have it in a very like, what would you say? Yeah, it would condense, like you were saying, it'd condense it.
I just need more shelves for games as well. Like I've just ran out of too many games. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't.
I'm the same, man. Like to get random games in like every drawer in my house that you fucking open. It's like that. I try my best not to let it spill over, but there's just I'll like open a drawer in a room and I'm like, oh, there's a fucking game or a VHS here or something, and I'm like, oh shit, where did this come from? And you don't even remember.
And then you're like, how much money did I spend on this? Like,
I know. But you know what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna paint a picture now, and I'm going to see if it comes to fruition.
I want to know what you're thinking, what you'd include in it, and I want to know what would be your prized possession in there.
Yeah. So the size of the room is like 2.5 meters width by I think 3 meters, so 2.5 by 3 meters. So it's not huge. It's it's perfect for what I need, right? So my thinking is, right, I'm going to have a couch on one side. So when you walk in,
what colour is the couch? You're going to go red with black, or
no? I like kind of grey, because I want to get carpet in it as well. So I'd like bright. I'm thinking like a bright, comfy.
Just
grey,
to interrupt you for a second, would you like to create, like, you know, when you see people recording in a professional podcast studio, would you kind of, you know, when you see like they have like the plant and the nice furniture and stuff, like, is there going to be a bit of that going?
I think a bit of that aesthetic is what I'm thinking. Because I do like that. Like. We've loads of plants in the house, and it's never something that I would have thought to do, but I feel like it really creates a really nice atmosphere in the house. So I think I want to incorporate some of that, and that kind of professional look, because it'll be nice to have that space as well for recording. I do want to have like I was talking to Gar about it, and he was saying you could get like a little fold-up desk for podcasting. I kind of want to have like a dedicated corner that is like a desk where I can have my laptop and my mic and everything set up, that I don't have to take it up, 100%. Put it down.
No, you need the purpose of that office, Nisha, is that you can walk in and record without touching anything. You just hit the button.
Yeah.
And like,
and
imagine
have a
just
camera
having
as well.
Yeah, no, but imagine like we could record actual video podcasts in that room then, you know what I mean, if it was set up all nice.
Oh man, it'd be brilliant,
and like you just have your little focus right, and you have your 2 microphones permanently set up, and it's just a case of sitting down and clicking record.
100%, and I'm gonna have it like really well insulated, so it'll help with like the sound and stuff. So that'll be really cool. But yeah, I'm gonna have a couch, right, and then on the other end of the room, I plan on having my entertainment unit, whatever way it might be, and I have a small CRT TV VHS combo. for watching videos, and then I have like my old, like it's a 32-inch flat screen. It's about, I'm gonna say it's about, oh Jesus, it's probably about 15 years old. I bought it in Extravision, and then a few consoles set up, and then one whole wall I want to just have shelves. So there's these, are they called Billy bookcases from IKEA that everyone uses?
I'm not sure.
A whole
Send them on to me.
wall. I'll send you a picture. A whole wall of just shelves, and then everything in order of like NES games, SNES, N64, whatever way it might be, and just kind of have it like that. So,
and one day you might even have a gaming PC. Who knows?
oh, possibly.
I mean, because I'm thinking you start off with what you have, right? But then
Yeah.
you'll probably be like, I actually just want a slick OLED monitor on the wall that works for everything. Because let's be honest, you've also become from retro gamer Ireland into modern gamer Ireland, and I think eventually you'll have a PS5 and an OLED in there, and you'll want a slick, very matte black design on everything, you know?
That's very possible. But do you know what? Actually, when you're talking about PC games, I had an idea. I had two ideas for podcast episodes. One of them was Game Room Talk, which we're doing right now. But another one is you could just call it like Windows 95 and talk about gaming on a PC back when you just had like a Windows
Yeah,
PC.
we're well overdue. That we got to get to our static setup for that recording. We got to get a big bad boy good recording out of that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really fun episode because I've so much memory of PC gaming that we've never really tapped into.
We haven't,
regards
and
to the podcast.
we should keep it untapped until we talk about it because there is a lot. There's so many core memories about using the family PC. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think it would be
absolutely.
perfect for a future episode.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. But man, the plan is in the next couple of weeks, I'm hopefully going to start the build of the new game room, and hopefully in maybe 6 to 8 weeks, if I'm being realistic, 2 months say, to have it near enough to completion.
Well, you better put a little fucking bed in there for me because I'll be on my way up.
I was actually thinking of like a couch, right? And I was like, you could get like a fold-out couch that it could be used as like a spare room as well. But then I was like,
you know what?
Getting a couch where you lift it up and there's like storage underneath would be just so ideal for like controllers.
And you need a mini fridge. You just need a mini fridge. That's the childhood dream. You just need a little baby mini fridge with a couple of tinnies in there, you know?
Yeah. A few White Claw and I'll be ready to go.
I actually had 4 White Claw on Sunday. I was wild altogether.
Oh, yeah. I actually had White Claw on, was it Friday or Saturday night for the first time ever? I'd never drank it before.
It's great.
I just had a couple of watermelon cans and it was really nice.
Sure, it's a very it's hard enough to get pissed on them. So like it's if you just want to have like a very very light good time.
Yeah,
it's
only 99 calories or something like that.
Press to continue is not sponsored by White Claw, but if you would like us to be sponsored by White Claw, we'll work it out. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, but man, I'm excited. I'm also excited to see how this episode sounds because we've kind of altered slightly how we're recording with these new portable mics, and I wonder, is it gonna help improve the audio?
Well, also we ended up fucking up the last episode anyway because we actually improved the audio,
sorry. Let me just say what happened there to the listeners, right? So, so we're recording on new mics, portable mics. So obviously the quality isn't as studio quality as you're used to, the impeccable quality of our general recording, but Keith really improved the audio, and in when I was uploading the podcast, I uploaded the shit audio version after you had worked on a better audio. So, but by that time it was too, like it was out and people had listened to it, and I was like, By that time,
people were already complaining that it sounded shit. There was no turning back.
But do you know what that means? So if you improve this recording, right, the jump from last week's episode to this one,
that's very true.
More better.
That's very true. And also, like, to be fair, like it took us fucking 3 seasons to even just perfect our static setup of like what we wanted and when it was off and how much post work you did on them. So, and also.
True.
you got an episode a week sooner than you normally would just because of these little bad boys. So
yeah, absolutely, man. These little DJI mics are an absolute game changer.
Yeah, I think the big thing is just like, again, now I'm walking around all the time, but this time we're kind of holding them. I actually am going to get like a little bit of a little handle for it, do you know, to hold it like a normal microphone. I think that would be nice.
Yeah,
maybe something just magnetic, because these are magnetic, so I could just put it on a little strip of metal and hold it on a stick, do you know what I mean, and really get animated with it.
That's actually a really good idea. That is a really good idea.
Imagine putting it on a Master Sword, like a little baby Master Sword that you can hold.
Do you know what? I was thinking of putting it on a coffee cup, because you could just sit there drinking your coffee. I have like a metal. Hold on, let me try it now, right? Hold on, you ready for this?
But then it's going to be going closer to your mouth all the way further away.
Yeah.
You'd have to be constantly drinking.
It didn't stick, and you'd hear every so often.
He's on the conquer stool again, boy. He's on the conquer stool.
Oh, brilliant. Well, we're going to have to figure out for next week's episode, and we're going to have to go through our list of previous episodes to make sure we don't double up again.
I think this episode should be called The GameCube, Game Rooms.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's a good idea. A little play on GameCube. Actually, game room talk. I think having that in the title would be like a bit intriguing and a little bit funny. So I think that's a great idea.
Fucking girl, my asshole is spread and ready to be licked. Let's talk about a girl.
Holy fuck! Holy Jesus! Oh, brilliant! But sure, will we travel off into the sunset now, Keith?
I will travel off into the sunset. I'm going to find that conquer room and I'm going to give myself a good tossing.
Yeah, baby. Sure, why not? All right, I'll chat to you. Actually, hold on. Plugs at the very end of the podcast.
Hang on, wait. Wait,
5 stars.
Hang on, Nisha. Hang on, Nisha. You're coming through loudspeaker on my phone.
5 stars. Rate us 5 stars, please. Even though this.
Okay, hang on. You're just going to hear yourself through my mic. It's fine.
That's grand. I'm leaving this in. Check us out on social media: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, Discord, everything.
Don't bother checking us. Don't bother checking any of that out. Just go to fucking Steamy Streamers on YouTube. It's all you need to do, guys. Don't worry about it.
And check out Keith's videos. I'll link your videos in the show notes.
Bother, man,
your
YouTube.
Yeah.
I linked them enough in Discord, man. Sure, I linked them
here as well. Sure, you can't have enough links, huh?
And if you want to check out for some extra premium content, guys, and you want something that is quite new, quite different, you can check us out at Keith and Nisha at onlyfans.com. We have a new premium. We have a new premium package. It's called the Conquer Jerk, where you can have one of us jerking at the Conquer table, or both of us.
Oh, look it.
Bye.
You ruined it. You ruined it, and I'm leaving.